We're breaking down the remaining wide receivers heading into week number 13, the wide receiver rankings for the Sunday guys and the Monday night game. Lamb and DK already exploded. They're not on this screen, but we're going to break down the remaining players. The Fantasy Football Show Week 13 Ranking Edition begins right now.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show.
All right, so Tyreek Hill is going to prove, well, Tua and the boys are going to prove people wrong and I think have a very strong finish, even when they play tough opponents. I know everybody's like, oh, this team doesn't do well when they face tough teams. Look, they've been banged up, and I think it's an absolutely glorious thing when a player proves a lot of doubters wrong. And we've talked about Devon Achane over and over and over and over and over. So I don't need to necessarily go over that right now. This is about wide receivers. But if you want to hear my rants about how I'm sick and tired of the Devon Achane hate and how I'm not tolerating Devon Achane slander, go watch my last 2 or 3 videos. But as for this entire team as a whole, the Tyreek Hill is going to absolutely explode in this game. His matchup is perfect against the Washington Commander team. He's going to absolutely annihilate them. I think that they could get up big and run the ball. That's fine. That's great for Achane. That's great for Mostert. That's great for the running crew. But Tyreek Hill's got back-to-back 100-yard games. He had 102 yards last week on 9 receptions. He had 10 receptions for 146 last week. Had a touchdown in each game. He's had literally 2 games this season where he hasn't scored a touchdown. He has 1 2-touchdown game and a string of 1, 2, 3, 4 games. This guy is going to explode in this Washington Commander matchup, and Tua's going to be fantastic. Now, again, people are going to say, oh, well, it's an easy team. Of course they're going to do well. They have Tennessee in week 14. Of course they're going to do well there, but they're going to struggle against the Cowboys in week 16. They're going to struggle against the Ravens in week 17. They're going to struggle against the Bills in week 18. Okay. Let's see what happens. With Achane on the field, let's see what happens. Achane is like taking digs off of the Buffalo Bills and saying, hey, how are you going to do, Josh Allen? Are you going to struggle a little bit more than normal? Tua's going to be fine. This team's going to be fine. This is a Super Bowl contending team. I don't think they win the Super Bowl. I think that they have a real strong shot at being a Final 6 team, Final 8 team, and when all is said and done. But they're not, I think, the winner of the 2023-2024 Super Bowl. I don't believe that, but they're a contender. They're capable of knocking off any team on any given Sunday. And Tyreek Hill's going to lead the way this week. Second, who is up second? CeeDee Lamb's off the board. DK's off the board. They played Thursday night. I think it's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god, we're going to put him at the 2 spot. This matchup against New Orleans is a pretty decent one for sure. And I think the Lions are going to feed this man the ball. And I think if I had to guess, let me pull up his stats from the last handful of weeks. He's got 8 targets in week 10, 8 targets in week 11, and last week, 9 targets. That is, he's a target machine. And he's had 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. He's due for one because last week he didn't have one, but he's got 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. 156 yards 3 weeks ago, 77 yards 2 weeks ago, and 95 yards last week. This matchup is a perfect one. Very friendly to, I think, Amon-Ra St. Brown usage. And I'm going to guess he has a $110, 6 receptions, and a tutty. That's what I'm going to roll with for Amon-Ra St. Brown. 110. Let's give him 7. Let's give him 8. Let's give him 8 receptions, 110, 1 TD. That you know what? Let's give him 10 receptions, 130 and a tutty, because he's the number 2 wide receiver. We need to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers, 110. Yeah, give him at least that, especially the 10 receptions. Let's give him a big whopping PPR day. St. Brown to the moon.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Next up is going to be between Keenan Allen, who's questionable. We need to monitor this. He's playing New England. He's at New England. We got A.J. Brown. We've got Tank Dell. We've got Devonta Smith. We got a handful. This is kind of a tricky, with all the bye weeks going on, This is kind of a tricky wide receiver ranking situation this week, I think, because you got a bunch of guys that have tough matchups that you want to put at 2, 3, or 4, like A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. I'd probably say I'm going to roll with, we'll put Keenan Allen here. Assuming he plays, we'll put Keenan Allen here. We'll call it 110 yards, a touchdown, and 9 receptions for Keenan Allen. I think this will be a good day. Keenan Allen has been absolutely fantastic. He's been playing hurt all year long, though. I'm really worried about him having some sort of injury, you know, week 17 and 16 and 15 or something like that, because he continuously is banged up. Well, when you look at his game logs, it's like greenlit the entire way down. It's like from week 6 after the bye week, 11 targets, 9 targets, 10 targets, 9 targets, 14 targets, 16 targets, and 16 targets. The man is at 14, 16, and 16 target-wise the last 3 weeks. Receptions, 11, 10, and 14. Yardage the last 3 weeks, 175, 116, 106. That's insane. That is insane. You know, this matchup is so solid against the New England Patriot defense that is going to give up a boatload of receiving yards. Eckler hasn't really been on point. I think he does kind of get a little bit more on point this game, but I think they do throw the ball enough. So this is going to be a nice little outing. Now here's where it gets tricky, because we've got the Eagle boys who are going up against a very tough Niner D. That's a very different D than they were weeks and weeks ago. I remember we said, oh, this Rams, you know, offense going up against the Niners weeks and weeks ago might be a tough matchup, and the Niners started to unravel on defense. Different defense than at that point. They're still vulnerable, and if there's a team out there that's capable of, I think, exploiting the Niners, it would be the Eagles or the Rams, because the Rams just have so many weapons. But I'm going to go ahead and say, got Keenan now. I'm going to go ahead and say AJB is ranking here and Devonta Smith ranking here. Now, I'll say that there's a great chance that one of them slightly disappoints from my projection and that they don't both have what I'm about to say. But if I had both these guys, I wouldn't, and I could only play one, let's say, I wouldn't know which one to play. So these stats kind of go for both of them. I think 100 yards and a touchdown, 6 receptions each. Again, I don't know that they both will get that, but that would be my individual projection for both of them. 100 yards and a tutty, and 5 or 6 receptions. If I had to, you forced me to put one lower than the other. I'd probably say A.J. Brown, 100 yards and a tutty, Devonta Smith, 80 yards and a tutty, if I had to force myself to maneuver that a little bit. Now, at this point, it's like Evans is there, Michael Pittman's been playing well, Tank Dell. I'm going to go with Tank Dell. I'm going to say Tank Dell, and he has the capability of playing like the 1, 2, or 3 overall. I'm going to put Tank Dell here. He's been banged up, but expected to play. A lot of confidence that he's going to play this week, according to his coach. We're going to give him 90 yards and a touchdown, 6 receptions, lock it in. I think Dell's in for a big, big day. At this point, I know some of you are going to like Pittman. I don't mind Pittman here. I don't hate Pittman here. I don't. Ridley's interesting. Collins, I think, is also going to have a good day. Waddle, I'm not going to put him here, but, you know, he certainly could be this good. I'm going to say Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel has a good 90 to 100 total yards on the ground, about a touchdown, almost a touchdown. We'll call it 0.8 touchdowns. I'm going to rank him slightly below Dell, because I think Dell does get the touchdown at 90 yards. Debo's 90 yards and a strong shot at a touchdown, but right around the same stats as Dell. They can run the ball with this man. They can throw the ball to this man. He can even throw the ball himself. Maybe he kicks a field goal on Sunday. I don't know if he'll have time. Bed Bath & Beyond, Home Depot, he may not have time. He's going to try and pull it off. But I think he's a strong bet for something along the 80 to 90 total yards and a touchdown. After that, it's tempting to go Ayuk. Let me put everybody over in the corner here. It's tempting to go Ayuk. I know a lot of people are going to hate this next one. And I said not to draft this guy. And we were right. we were right. Drafting him was a disaster, but trading for him on the dirt cheap and expecting him to do something here at the end in his last little hurrah, I'm going to say Cooper Kupp's not a bad, what are we at? 1, 2, Hills 1, St. Brown 2, Keenan Allen 3, A.J. Brown 4, Devonta Smith 5, Tank Dell 6, Debo 7. This is number 8. It's not that high. Like calm down. Like, hell, Kupp's cooked. I mean, he might be, but I think he's got a real strong shot at doing something for a string of games in his last hurrah. I don't know where I'm going to rank him next year. I don't know where you're going to rank him next year. I said avoid him in 2023 on draft day, so I can't imagine saying draft him unless his draft value falls so far that he's like a 5th rounder or something crazy in 2024. Then we'll revisit. But right now, this week, I'm going to say Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, both close to that 80, 90 yards and a touchdown mark. Similar to Dell, similar to Debo. It's just kind of a pecking order of who's more likely to get it. I don't think it's crazy if all these guys have 90 yards and a touchdown. But I think Dell, Debo, Kupp, Puka, all very close pecking order, even Mike Evans. We're going to put Ayuk right here. We're going to put Jamar Chase just because he's Jamar. I mean, 80 yards and a 50% chance of a touchdown. Ridley, I kind of like, what am I doing with Ridley? Do I want to put Ridley here? You know what? Maybe I put Ridley. Let's get bold. Let's get bold. I'm sorry, Jamar. I'm sorry, Ayuk. We're getting bold. Ridley, I think Ridley has a similar opportunity for that 90-yard and a touchdown little order we got here. Likelihood of it, Dell, most likely. Debo, likely after that, Kupp, Puka, Evans, Ridley, and then we're going to go Ayuk and Jamar Chase. And then next up, I'm going to say probably, I'm going to go Waddle, and then I'm going to go Collins, and then I'm going to go Pittman. And then after that, you've got guys like Adam Thielen, you got Christian Kirk, you got DeAndre Hopkins, we've got Terry McLaurin, we've got Garrett Wilson, Josh Downs, etc., etc. But this will be my pecking order for my Week 13 wide receivers that don't include the Thursday night game. So DK and CD already played. That is Hill 1, St. Brown 2, Keenan Allen 3, AJ Brown 4, Devonta Smith 5, Tank Dell 6, Debo Samuel 7, Cooper Kupp 8, Puka Nacua 9, 10 is Mike Evans, 11 Ridley, 12 Ayuk, Jamar Chase 13, 14 is Waddle, and then 15's Collins and Pittman tie, let's say. And if I had to say, okay, Smitty, now think outside the box. What wide receiver could absolutely skyrocket from these rankings into a higher rank? If I had to pick 2 or 3 guys, I would say Dell up higher like this. I would say maybe Cooper Kupp does have a big game like this. He could disappoint, sure, but he could be up here. Puka as well. And then I'd probably say the other guy, if I had to pick one more player, Ridley. Ridley, maybe he has one of these, 4 or 5 wide receiver games. Collins could too. He could creep up in here because Collins and Tank Dell sometimes do that little rotational thing. But those are my wide receiver rankings Week 13. Appreciate you all. See you on a live stream tonight.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show.